Hello and welcome to Backstage, where we have all the latest news and interviews from the world of TV and film. And I'm joined by Sky's entertainment reporter Claire Gregory.
Hello, hello.
And TV and film reviewer from New York, Stevie Wong.
Hello, hello.
And coming up on this week's show.
I have been keeping something from you.
It's about Harold. I can't make it stop.
Why didn't you tell me who you are?
What Frankie took is very important to a lot of very dangerous people. If you don't retrieve it, I'll bring the weight of this whole institution down on you both.
Call in and tell me your problems.
There is another sex therapist on campus.
Otis!
Look, we could talk about so many things this week, but the big drama this week that everyone's been talking about, surely, is it just us? The return of Neighbours to Amazon now. Ooh.
Holly, what have I told you about keeping guests waiting?
It's not my fault the computer was slow.
No, you were gas-bagging with Sadie and Mackenzie here. You know, Carl and Susan begged me to give you this job. If a guest wants something, we deliver.
We all made a big thing of it being the end of Neighbours. They did a special episode. Kylie came back, all of the famous faces that we knew and loved from over the years. And then the bombshell that it wasn't the end, was it? So now it's back on Amazon without, I mean, we don't really want to spoil it, do we, for too many people? But what did we make of the first episode?
Well, it's certainly a little bit different. You can tell. You've got all your same sets and things like that, and many of your same actors. But you've also got some newbies in there. So I feel like Amazon had dug into their pockets already.
I mean, Stevie, was this good for you? Mischa Barton joining.
Mischa Barton, but what was really surprising was that Guy Pearce is still on the show. I thought like he was like a one and done for the special, but you turn it on this season and he's still there. So I don't know how many episodes he's kind of contracted for, but I was so surprised that he's kind of staying true to the show that gave him a career, and he's giving it more episodes for the fans.
They've got the Amazon money. That's why they can afford the Hollywood types to stay around at least for a few episodes, we think.
Well, that's it. So Mischa Barton, for example, we know that her role is there is an end to it. She's not kind of joined on an ongoing basis. Though, of course, in true soap fashion, it has been left open for her to come back. I mean, Neighbours, famously, anyone can come back at any time.
Harold, multiple times.
But what was really interesting when we caught up with Mischa is that she actually said that working on Neighbours was like nothing she's ever done before.
When I was young, I was on a couple of things, like All My Children and stuff. You know, it's like all of these sets function very differently. This one, it was wild. I mean, I have a lot of respect for them. It's multi-camera, and like they work so fast, and the amount of content that they shoot, like 5 episodes in a week, and like, you know, probably like 20 scenes a day.
Are we all a bit fickle? Did we think we wanted it back, but do we really not want it back?
I don't know, you know. I think if anything's going to help get a new audience, it's, you know, mixing it up a bit and setting it in the future a little bit. You know, this is perhaps, I mean, will I be watching faithfully like I did as a youngster? Probably not. Stevie?
No, I mean, this is at the end of the day, this is a true soap opera, and my days of watching soap operas are kind of over, and so I'm glad that it's back. It's there for a certain group of people who are diehards and stuff, but probably not for me.
Out of curiosity alone, I think a lot of people will certainly be watching the first few episodes of Neighbours, which is on Amazon Freevee. And another Amazon show we're going to be talking about this week, it's the John Wick spin-off, The Continental, which is out now on Prime.
This is my house.
Kill all these suckers!
What I'm asking you to do is not easy. I'm offering you a chance to decide who you want to be.
Look, I'm going to pass over to you on this one, Claire, because you are the Keanu Reeves resident expert, a big fan of the John Wick franchise.
But this is the problem. I am a big fan of Keanu Reeves, and he's not in this because it's actually, these are prequels. They're calling it a series, but it's actually 3 feature-length episodes. It's like 3 new movies, and they're all set in the 1970s, so it's before John Wick. So don't expect any Keanu cameos, sadly. This is all about Winston, about how he became the proprietor of the New York branch of the Continental, which is, of course, the hotel where hitmen and assassins can go and get safe harbour in the John Wick world.
You had an early screening of this as well, though, didn't you? Because you got to chat to the director.
Yeah, Albert Hughes. And it was interesting because, like I say, Keanu's not in this, but for fans of the movies, there are plenty of little Easter eggs sprinkled through this.
I was a big fan of the TV show Starsky and Hutch. So the Starsky and Hutch car is in episode 2. I was a big fan of the movie Warriors. So the Warriors spray painted, graffitied hearse in episode 3. I'm a big fan of Taxi Driver. In the opening of episode 1, a character named Yen picks up Frankie, Winston's brother, and the exact replica of Travis Bickle's Taxi from Taxi Driver. So there's not only nods to other movies, there's nods to the film series, there's also nods to cultural things, TV commercials, and music, of course.
Just very quickly, Stevie, I mean, there's so much fighting in this. Were you a fan?
I am a fan of the fighting. I think I was a little bit thrown off by how little content there was. I mean, this is the setup is strange. It's 3 90-minute movies and they're calling it like a series event. And so in a weird way, the format is, it was like too long sometimes as an episode, but then if you look at the 3 things, it was like, oh, too short as a season. And I wanted more storylines with the characters. Like, I just felt like
we haven't even mentioned Mel Gibson's in this.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, Mel Gibson's in it too. And you know, he does not join in on the fighting. He just kind of sits behind a table and people to do bad things.
Some people will be disappointed about.
I know, but it was just kind of it's a strange show because you know all the obviously the team behind it is still there, and so you're watching really A grade kind of action if you like that kind of stuff. And the set pieces are hilarious because it's like the 70s and they really lean into it. The costumes and the music, it's got that Starsky and Hutch kind of, you know, obviously that like boom chicka wow wow kind of like situation. And but something, I don't know, it's just missing more, you know, like I wanted the characters to I wanted to feel more about the characters, and I didn't.
Some might say like, it's missing Keanu.
I would definitely say that.
If you're a fan of the John Wick films, possibly worth checking out. The Continental is available on Prime Video. If you're hankering though for a different sort of action, how about the return of one of Netflix's most popular shows? It's Sex Education.
My partner left because he's not the father.
I know it's been hard, but I still need a mum. People are doing all these new things, and sometimes I feel like I'm getting left behind. And I don't know that you're coming back.
And of course, with this one, Stevie, they've had to adapt, haven't they? They've had to change the storylines because the characters are now kind of all going their separate ways. But they've had to adapt it because in real life, everyone is so mega famous, aren't they? And they can't basically record together. What did you think?
It's true. I mean, this is the series that kind of created the careers of Asa Butterfield and Ncuti Gatwa and Emma Mackey and Karna Swindles, and these are names that now we all recognize. And so to bring them back to a series that made them, it probably was a real nightmare when it came to organizing it, which is why this series feels a little bit saturated because they're off doing their own storylines, and then every now and then they would like stick them together in scenes and
there's another problem though, isn't there?
It is a bit of a problem, and also they're older.
They're too old. They're way too old to be playing teenagers. A couple of them can maybe get away with it, but some of them, there's something very jarring about these old guys playing young teenage boys.
It's a throwback to that Grease casting, isn't it? Where you look at them and go, no.
So Dawson's Creek. It's Uncanny Valley stuff. It's quite distracting.
The humour's still there, though. The jokes are. You whipped through seeing the whole of this last season, though, didn't you, Stevie?
I did, and you know, I love this show, and I love the stars that it's created, and what we were talking about on the podcast, which you should listen to, is the fact that when this show first came out, the topics that they were tackling were kind of fresh. Things about being sex positive and things like abortion and things like that. But now it feels like we are because of a show like this, it now feels like normal kind of conversation. And so how does the show end, when they've set up all these wonderful things now for the world to appreciate? So I was curious to see how they would finish up. And I feel like they did a great job.
Look, it's a good season. And if you want to check out Sex Education, it's available now on Netflix. And that is it from us for this week. If you've enjoyed listening to Backstage and you want to hear a bit more, just scan the QR code that's on your screen at the moment, or you can just download the latest podcast, however it is you normally search for your podcast. That's it from us then. Goodbye to Stevie. Thank you to Claire as well. And we will see you all again very soon.